Hello, good day all. Today we'll be looking at a very simple but very attractive flyer design. Okay, this is a very professional advert for Coca-Cola. We'll be looking at how to replicate this type of design for Coca-Cola. Before we do that, this is Adobe Photoshop software. And when you look at this when you look at this design, you have that you can observe that it is made up of a few components. This is the logo, this is the Coca-Cola logo. This is a bottle. It is an image. All right. And then we have a text here, another text here, and then we have a shape. This is a circle. And inside this circle, we have another text here, and another one here, another one here. So these are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 components that makes up this design. And under here we have the ninth component, which is also a text. So basically, the design is made up of an image, a text, and shapes. The combination of these elements makes up our design. So quickly, let us go over to how to create this. I have the components already here. These are the components that I have. I have the logo. I have the bottle. So I will show us how to quickly create this design in Adobe Photoshop. So the first thing you are going to do is to click on Files above here. This is Files. You click on it. Okay. We click on Files and we have New to create a new file. Okay, above here we have photo files, print, art and illustration. So they all have dimensions. So these prints here below it are various international sizes. We have letter size, have legal size, tabloid, A4, A6, A5, depending on what you are working on. So there is no point having the measurement of these sizes of heart. They are already installed on this system. Once you click on it, the international size will, will be used. Okay, but now want to create something like this. When you look at our design, you see that you can notice that the width and the height are almost the same proportion. The reason for this is that this is an online advert. And whenever you are creating an online advert that will be acceptable on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter, you have to make sure that the proportion, that's the height and the width and the length are the same. Because that is the way Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram was programmed. So if you have something longer, some elements can be cut off when you are posting the advert. So because this is an online advert, we have to make sure that the same width we use is the same height we are going to be using. So this is where you input the width. This is for the unit of measurement, centimeter, millimeter, point, pixels, and all of that. So the unit of measurement you're using for now is inches. All right. Well, you can, if you are making this designed specifically for Twitter. You can go to Google and check up the size for Twitter adverts and also other social media handles. But for now, let us maintain 11 inches by 11 inches. Okay. So below here we have orientation. This is, as you can see, this one is portrait orientation. This one is landscape. All right. But we don't really need any of them now because what we are working on is the same width and the same height. The difference between the portrait and the landscape is that when we are working on landscape, for example, if I have the width as 4, when we are working on a portrait now, that's the one standing, meaning that the width is lesser than the length. But when we have landscape, as you can see, immediately I clicked here, the width changed to 11 and the height changed to 4. So meaning that here now, the width is larger than the height. Okay, so that's that. But what we need is the same, we need the same proportion. And of course, the resolution should be 300 dpi, and the color mode RGB. Okay, every other thing should be set to normal, and we click on create. So once we click on create, we have a new work project created now. As you can see here, it is untitled, meaning that you have not made any progress yet on the design. Okay. So along the line, when we save it, this untitled will be changed to the name we used to save. So the first thing we are going to do is to go over here by clicking. We'll click on this. These are the materials we have in this software now. These are the 3 of them. So I'll click on each of them to see them. All right. So this is the Coke bottle. This is the logo, and this is our example. So quickly, I'll click on this. Below here, we have the layer panel. This is the layer panel. Okay. So I'll double click on this icon, but the layer is locked. Whenever you open a new image or anything on Photoshop, you will always see this key showing that the layer is locked. So when I will double click it to unlock it, and then so that I can be able to copy. So when I double click on it, it brings up a pop-up screen. It brings up a screen. Okay. Most of the times it brings up a screen. This time around, there is no. Okay, okay, it's here. Okay. So once you have unlocked it, most of the times it brings up a screen and you click OK to unlock it. But this time around, there was no pop-up screen, and what we need to do is just click on the layer. Once it's clicked, Control C to copy, and then go over to our new project. This is the new project. You click on it and Control V to paste. You have pasted the button. So you click by the side of this button. You click here and drag it up to increase the size of this button, right? So we'll do that quickly. So we click and drag. Okay, to increase the size of this button. And then we click enter. Okay. So the next thing we're going to do now is to remove the background. This bottle has a background. The reason why you didn't notice it is because there is also another white background in it. This is what I mean. Below the layer panel here, we have the layer for the bottle, and we have another layer. This is a default background layer whenever you create a new project on Adobe Photoshop. Okay, but we don't really need that. Don't really need this background now, so we're going to remove it. All we'll do is we double click. We're going to double click on the padlock icon. Okay, here it is, and then we click on the layer and click delete to delete it. Okay, now we can clearly see the background of the bottle. Okay, so remember that we need to have our background red because we want to design for Coca-Cola and their background color is red. So we'll use this rectangle tool to make a red background for this work. All right. So we'll click on the rectangle tool. Once you've clicked on it, click by the side and drag. Can you see the position of my mouse? So when you click and drag down, you create a rectangle. The default color of any rectangle you create is whatever is here. Okay, so we have white color ready on our color palette. That is why the rectangle came with white, but you can always change it by clicking here. Okay, this is where you have the properties of the rectangle. This is the color. This is the size of the outline. This is the width, the height, and all of that. We want to make the rectangle, we want to curve the side. This is just the properties of the rectangle you created. Okay. So what we just want to change is the color. So quickly click on the color. Double click on the white color and we change it to red. Okay. If you need a particular shade of red, you can click here to see a color wheel. This is a color wheel. Okay. Depending on the color that you want, you can always click here and change to another shade, the one that is preferable to what you want to design. Once you are done with that, you can click OK and your color is applied. Okay. It's more like our bottle has disappeared, but that's not true. We still have our bottle here. Looking at the layer panel, we have our bottle here and we have our red background here. It's just that, it's just that the red background is it's just that the red background is above.
Hello.
Okay, you're welcome. Kindly join the
Hello,
call.
good afternoon.
Yes, good afternoon. You're welcome. Can you
I
see
should
this?
join what
Yeah, just follow what we are doing. I hope you can see
I
the
can
screen. Okay, okay,
yes.
okay. So what we are doing is on Photoshop. Okay, we are trying to create this advert. This is an advert for Coca-Cola. So we are trying to replicate the design. And the components we have here, which you can get online,
Okay.
we have the Coca-Cola logo, we have the bottle, okay? And this is the new project we created now, okay? So like I said,
Where did you download it from?
on Google,
Coca-Cola Zero. Okay, from Google.
yes, you can always get
Okay.
any image from Google, okay?
All right.
So depending on what you want to design. So I said the reason why the red background is covering our bottle is because when you look at this, at the layer panel here, the red background is above the bottle layer. So, but when we change the position and when we
Okay.
drag this one above, now you can now be able to see the bottle. Okay, so this is what we will do.
Okay.
We click on the bottle layer, and drag it up above the red background. Okay, now this is our bottle. It can now be visible. It has been there since, but because the red background is above it, you cannot be able to see it. So basically, what you use the
Okay.
layer panel to do is to arrange hierarchy of objects. You understand? So we need to
Okay.
remove this white background. And to be able to do that, we are going to use this tool. It is called polygon lasso tool. If you are not seeing this tool,
Polygon.
polygon lasso tool, I'm coming, I will show you the okay. Once you highlight on it, can you see the spelling there? Polygon lasso tool. And
Yeah. Yeah.
the shortcut for it on your screen, on your system is L. Okay. So when you just click on L, you have activated the tool. But if this is not showing, the third tool in your toolbar, when you click and hold, okay, you can see other tools also in that line. We have the lasso tool, polygon lasso tool, magnetic lasso tool. They are both related, but they are not the
Okay.
same. There's a little bit difference
Okay.
between them. So as we walk along, I will show you the differences. Okay. So if this one is not the tool that is in your software by default, just at the third line of your toolbar, click and hold, and then activate polygon lasso tool. Okay. So once you do that, the next thing to do is Control plus on your keyboard, Control plus to zoom. Okay. So when you zoom it like this, you click, you click. Okay. Before we do that, to avoid, I want to show you something. Okay. This is a mouse. Okay. This is the left click and this is the right click. So that if I say left click, you know what we mean by left click and right click. Okay. So with your lasso tool selected, with your lasso tool selected, you left click as you click once. Once you click once, you can see that the lasso tool has been activated. Now you move your mouse. Can you see the movement of what I'm doing?
Yes.
Okay. So you move a little bit, not quite long from where you clicked, and click again. Okay. Can you see a line? It is like making a line. So if I move and click, it drops at that point, and then I move the mouse again and click another point, and it drops. It's more like creating checkpoints or what we call anchor points. That is what we use this tool for. Okay, but this is not actually what I want to do. I want to use this tool to make anchor points around this bottle. Okay, so I will start. You can start from any point in the bottle. You can even start from the top. But what we want to do is we click a point, move our mouse a little bit, and click another point, move a little bit, click another point, just like that, until our line has gone around the bottle. Okay, this is what we want to do. So remember, what I'm using is left click, not right click. The left click is the button that you use to open any software. When we say click on this, it is the left click that you click. Okay, so I'm just moving and clicking around the bottle with the polygon lasso tool. Remember, you have to zoom to be able to see the edges of what you are doing. This same pattern is how you remove the background of a picture. Okay, so if you have a picture of somebody you want to design something for birthday or anything, this is the same pattern that we use. Although there are few tricks to make this quite faster, but I will show you the tricks along the line. Okay, but this is basically how to remove background from any image. I hope you are following.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, I'm following. Like moving background, that's what we want to do.
Yes, yes. So once we have gone through the image with the polygon lasso to creating anchor points, all right? This is where the point started. So once I join this line now to the starting point, if you look closely to these two, once my mouse moves closer to the starting point of this line, there is a circle, a small circle around the two to show you that this is the joining point. And once I click on it, it highlights. Okay. When you see the highlight around the bottle, okay, it highlights the line, the bottle. So what you're going to do next is right click, not left click now. You right click on it, and then you have these options: deselect, select inverse, feather, select and max, and all of that. Okay. What we're going to do is layer via cut. Layer via cut. Okay, so while we are doing that, you look at the layer panel. This is the layer panel. Okay, just pay attention to this place because you will see that a new layer will be created. We have two layers already. Okay, so once I do that now, once I once I do that, you'll be able to see, okay, layer via cut. Okay, you can see another layer is created. What happens is that this bottle has been cut off from the background. Okay, see what that means. When you use the move tool, for example, you use the move tool now. Can you see the layers I'm selected? Above it is the bottle, and below it is the white background. And you see now what happened there? That line I created around this bottle and the command that I used, layer via cut. What happened is that it cut off this bottle from the white background so that they now have two separate layers. If I want to move the bottle now, it is now easy for me to move the bottle and the layer. I hope you are following.
Yes.
Okay. So the white
Yes.
So any of these that you want to move, you first of all click the layer. Okay. If I want to move the red background, I will click on the layer and then move it with the move tool. Okay. Can you see what's going on now? Okay. So, but we don't need the white background, we'll delete it. Okay. And I said for us to increase an image, we click by the side here and drag it up. Okay. So we click and drag to increase the bottom. We want it more bigger. Okay. I see it now. So let's go over to our example.
Yeah.
This is what I have as an example. So what we need now is a logo. So we'll bring in our logo. Okay. You can copy and paste. Okay. Okay. Can you see my screen? I hope you can still see my screen from there.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. So what happened is that the file of that logo has a little bit fault, so it couldn't copy. So I went to fix it. We'll explain that later. Okay, so this is our logo. Control C to copy it, and then we move back to our project. I said that above here is where you see the files you are working on. Okay, above here is this one is the sample we got online. This is the bottle we got online. This is our project. The name is untitled now,
Okay.
but once we make progress, we'll do what we save it. So I think we have made some progress now. So we're going to save that. To save that, we click on File and Save. Okay, it says Save on your computer or cloud. So we want to save on our computer, and then we'll use a name and say Coca-Cola. Okay, Coca-Cola design. Okay, and then now we save it. Okay, if you notice, you see the name of the file has changed to Coca-Cola design.psd. Okay, so this is one way to save your work. Okay, so now we'll now go to the logo. This is the logo. Okay. Ctrl C to copy it and move to our design and paste it. Drag to increase it a little bit. Okay, so what we're going to do now is want to remove the white background as well. Okay, you are supposed to use the lasso tool to go around, but this time around we are not going to do that, because if we begin to use this lasso tool, we might not get a very perfect circle. Okay, so there's a trick to do that. If it's a circle, we'll use a circle tool. Okay, this is where you can get the circle tool. This is rectangle tool, but when you click and hold, if you click and hold, you have Okay, this is rounded rectangle ellipse 2. Okay, so ellipse 2 is what we need. We click on it. Once is selected, once the ellipse 2 is selected, then we click and drag. And you see it's creating a circle. Okay, but this circle is not a perfect circle because the shapes is adjusting as you move the mouse. But if I hold shift on my keyboard, do you see what is going on? It's creating a perfect circle. Okay, but if I remove my hand from shift key, it creates an irregular circle. Okay, so when we want a perfect circle, as we are creating using the ellipse tool, we hold shift to make sure that it is a perfect circle. Okay. So this is it. It comes with a white background. This is where you can change it. This is the properties. Once you create something, the properties will pop up. Okay. I said before that this is the width, the height. Here is the color of the shape. This is the outline color, the outline size, the outline type, and all of that. Okay. So, but we don't need the color for what we want to do. But if we want to change color, we can double click on this white and change it to any color that we want. But that's not what we want to do now. We want to cut off. Okay. So when you take a look at our layer, you can see that what we have now is 4 layers. We have the circle layer, that's the ellipse. Okay. We have the logo, we have the bottle, and then we have our red background. All right. So what we're going to do now is we, we put the circle under, drag it under the logo. Okay, it seems as the yellow circle has disappeared, but it has not disappeared. Pay attention to this icon that looks like an eye. Okay, this is where you on or off the visibility of your layers. Okay, so if I click on this layer's visibility is off, meaning that it is still there but it's not visible. Okay, this is the visibility of the logo. It is above the circle. So if I click on the visibility, I've turned it off. If I click on the visibility of the yellow circle too, I've turned it off. The same thing with the bottle. If I click on this layer, I've turned it off. So this is how you turn on and off your layers, the layers of your work, okay? So I think with that now, what we want to do is to create a clipping mask, okay? With our circle, look, this is our circle at the back of the logo. We placed it directly at the back of the logo. So with the logo now above the circle, we right click and create clipping mask. This is what you are going to select. Create clipping mask. Okay. What happened? You see what happened? What happened is that the logo has been transferred inside the circle. So for you now to move this circle now, you are moving the logo. It's more like
Okay.
putting the logo inside that circle. Okay. So when you increase the logo, it will increase, but it's still inside the logo. Okay. So, but if you want to move the both of them to change the direction, you hold Control. When you hold Control, and then you hold Shift, not Control. Okay. You hold Shift and then you move the logo to wherever you want to move it. Okay. But remember that the layer we are
Okay.
holding is the circle. The circle. So when you click on Shift and use your mouse to drag, you now move it together. Okay, so that's about
Okay.
clipping mask. Okay, but if you click on this logo from the layer panel, and you right click and then you say release clipping mask, you have now brought out the image out of the circle. So you still have that white background, but that's not what we want. We want to clip it inside. So we say create clipping mask. Okay, so that is that now. So we move it. Remember that is the circle that will be selected for you to move with shift. Okay, if not, you will have yourself moving the one that is inside. Okay, so once the circle is selected, use shift to move. Shift and use mouse to click and drag it. So that's that. And then you can see the logo is blocking the bottle. So what we'll do is that we move the layer of this bottle above that logo. How to do that is we click the layer and drag it up. So it is now above the logo. You can now see it before you see the logo. Okay, that's how it should be. And then we move it a little bit by the side so that the bottle doesn't cover that logo. And then we reduce the bottle a little bit. Okay, that's that. So we go over to our reference again. This is our reference. It's looking more like it. So the next thing we are going to create now is we're going to create this. This is a test.
Chill.
It says chill, okay? So what we're going to do now is we'll go over to our work. This is our work. This is the test tool. We use the test tool to do that. Okay. So when we click on the test tool, if you click and hold, you can see other tools by the side inside the test tool. Okay. When you click and hold, you see vertical type mask, and all of that. They are all functional tools, but that's not what we will be needing for this class. All right, so we will just click and use the horizontal type tool. Okay, horizontal type tool is
Okay.
when you want to type something that is horizontal, that's like this. Vertical is when you want to type something vertically, this way. Okay, so but what we want to type is horizontal.
Okay.
So we use the horizontal type tool. Okay, with that selected now, horizontal type tool, we click here. Once we click, you see a little highlight. Then you use your keyboard to type. Use your keyboard to type. You can be designing and then you come across something like this. It seems what you're typing is not visible. But now when you look up here,
You see an increase.
you will see that the color of your text is red and your background is also,
Red.
is
Yeah.
also red. So that is why it
Red.
seems what you're typing is not clear. What will happen for you to fix that? What you're going to do is you are going to click the text, Control A to highlight everything, and then you click on the color of your text and change it to white. Click on white part of it, okay? So now your text is now visible. And then you drop your tool by clicking the move tool. Okay. So you use the move tool. So control minus to zoom out, control plus to zoom into your work. Okay. So we have to click with the move tool. We will now click by the side and drag our text to increase it. Okay. But if you don't like the style of this text, you can change the font type by clicking the text tool again. Click on the text you created, highlight everything. Above here is where you have the font type, then the weight of the font, okay? And here is the size of the font, okay? So we'll look at that now, okay? So when you click here, you now select the choice of your font. Basically, you might have only default fonts, but you need to download professional fonts that you can be able to use. Okay, there are more professional fonts online. When you go to Google, you can look for them. And when we deal with typography, will be showing you the types of fonts and when to use them. Okay, you don't just use any font while designing, because fonts determines the look and feel of your design. So when we are using fonts, we'll pay attention to what we are designing. Okay, so that's it. There are bits. There are some things that we can do to make the test more visible. Okay, you might not have you might not have you might not have this available in your Photoshop. But what you're going to do is what you're going to do what you're going to do to be able to see them is you click on Windows. When you click on Windows, you can see paragraph, and you can see character. Okay. So this is how you can be able to bring out this panel and these two panels, because they'll be used to edit your tests. Okay. So let's go through a few of them. This now is alignment. When you want your test to align to the right, you click here. When you want them to align to the center, you click here. When you want it to align to the right, this is left alignment, center alignment, and right alignment. Okay. Then when you go to character, this one here, this is the font family, the type of font, the weight. This is the height of the font. Okay. Then this is the space between them. This is the space above it. This is the color. You want to make it bold, you click here, italics, subscript, and all of that. So you'll be needing this panel as you work with tests, okay? And what we want to do is to increase the space between CHILL so that it can be more visible. So we click on our test tool, click on it, highlight everything, and then this place where we have VA, that is the size of the space between the tests. So you can just click and drag them and drag it by the side to increase the space, to increase the space between that test. I think that's what we want, and so it's cool like that. Okay, we'll go back to our reference here. The next thing is to put the other test that says test the filling. Okay, so to do that, we'll just copy this, Control C, Control V, and then we
Okay.
reduce it and drag it to the side, reduce it more again. Can now change the weight because that is very bold compared to our compared to our sample. Okay, I think this weight is okay, but I think this is better. Okay, so say test. Okay, we have it on caps lock, so we use we use caps lock. Test. Okay, so we'll reduce it. Okay, and the next thing is to add this, say 300 ml RGB now, or 1 Ghana cedis. Okay, so we'll copy our test. Control C, Control V. Okay, so it's 300 ml, 300 ml. Okay, we reduce by clicking this place. Okay,
You go to Ogbake. You go
so
to Akiode. So maybe from there, I'll just branch to Akiode.
okay, so we click and reduce the width of that font. We don't want it italic. And then the space, I think the space should just a little bit. And then we reduce the size. This is better. It says RGB now.
Well, this one is there this morning.
Okay. So we Control C, Control V again to copy our text. And then highlight and retype again. Okay. And then C, Control V. This is not Ghana. This is Nigeria, so we use Naira. So say it's 120 Naira. Yeah, in Nigeria. Okay. we need to put the cross.
Did you pause the?
Come again. What's your question? What's the question for me?
Oh no, sorry.
Okay, okay. Okay, so I think we need to make the Naira sign more clear. So we're going to use the rectangle tool here. So you click on this rectangle tool and draw a rectangle above.
Okay.
This is it. Okay. It has a white color already, but we can still change the color. But that's not what we want. I see the color is changed, but white, want it white. Okay. So
Yeah.
once it's there, we need to copy and paste back to make it double. Okay, this is it. Now you can zoom out. We need in our sample here, we have a circle. We have a circle, okay, and a smaller circle here like this to
Okay.
give it a design. So we're going to create that circle. So go back to our work, click and hold the rectangle tool. Okay,
Don't worry,
then
let me finish
you
what
now
I'm doing.
select the ellipse tool. Okay, like I said when you are creating a circle, you hold shift to create a perfect circle. So you click and drag it down and hold our shift to make it a perfect circle and drag it down more. Okay, it is now a big circle. Right. So now you now pay attention to our layers. These are the layer panels. So as we are creating tests, creating rectangles, and all of that, our layers are increasing because anything that you create on Photoshop, a layer has been created for you. Okay. If we scroll up and down, we can see all of them. You can see Taste the Feeling has its own layer. 120 Naira has its own layer. They all have their own layer. Okay. So this is how you keep track of your design. Photoshop makes use of layers. So by turning off and on the visibility, you can be able to identify each each and everything that you create on Photoshop as a single layer. Okay. So this is the layer for the circle. So what we want to do is that we want to take the circle layer below the text. So we drag and come down a little bit. Okay. Below the text. Okay, that's it. But we still have the text that says 300 ml RGB. This is it. But because the circle is white and the text is white, you cannot be able to see it. So we use the text tool, click on it, click on the text, highlight everything, and change the color to red. Okay. Hope you are seeing what I'm doing. When I highlighted the text, I clicked here. This is where you change the color of the text, the size, the width of the text, the font type. Okay. So what we want to do is to change the color. So when I click color. So when I click here, immediately I click here, a color wheel. This is a color wheel. It pops up. Okay. So I can click here to give me a shade of red, any type of red I want. Okay. If I click blue here, it gives me different shades of blue. As I'm clicking it, it's changing. I hope you're seeing that. If I click on yellow, as I'm clicking it, it's changing. Okay. But what if I want to use the red on this bottle? What will happen is that I will move my mouse out of the color wheel to the bottle. Okay. Immediately I move my mouse out of the color wheel outside here, the mouse pointer changes to something like a picker. Okay. So any object you click now, your test will make use of that color. For example, I want to click the cook, the drink color. Okay. So the test uses any color that you click in the design.
Wow.
That's how to pick color. Okay. So
Okay.
we are picking color just as
From the
simple as that.
image.
Okay. So, but we need to maintain the red on the background. So what we're going to use is we click on the background to pick
Okay.
that red. Okay. So once we are done,
Okay.
we click OK. Okay. So
Okay.
we bring the tests. Remember, there is another test under which is now. So we click on the layer now and do the same thing to read. Click on the test tool, click the location, and then highlight it and change the color. Yeah. So we'll do that also to 120 naira. If you cannot locate it, you can drag it out by the side. When you click the layer, then use the test tool and highlight it. Okay. And then you do the same thing and use the move tool to drag it back. Then you remember the rectangles we used for the Naira sign, they are still on white, okay? So to change that color of the rectangle, they are still on white. That's why you can see there is a okay. So we click on the layer. These are the two rectangles. So rectangle two, rectangle two. So we click on each of them, click on the ellipse, click and hold on the ellipse to select rectangle two. Okay. So with the rectangle tool selected now, we go to fill. This is fill. Okay. So you click there to change the color. When you click there, it pops out something like this. When you click on fill, okay, so you click on this color wheel. There is, can you see my mouse pointing to something there? Can you see where my mouse is pointing to? Hello? So when you click here, the color wheel pops out. You click on the background red and click OK. The same thing you do to the other rectangle. Okay. So you now make your arrangements. For you to move things easily on Photoshop, it's better you make your layers arranged. Okay. So this is the layer panel now. Now you can see all the layers we have here. You can see all the layers that we have for this design. There are a lot of them. Okay. So, but I would like us to organize some things.
Please, is this class recorded?
Yes,
Sir
yes,
Gabriel.
yes, yes. The
Okay,
class,
sir. So,
yes, is being recorded.
all right, please. I have an engagement now. So I'll watch the recording later, please.
on YouTube. Okay, no problem.
All right. Thank you.
Okay, so we'll make we'll make we'll make a layer group. Okay, so if you look there's a little icon here like a file. So that's the layer group icon. What we're going to do is we click on it. When we click on it, okay, it says group one. So you can rename it. You can rename it by right clicking. Okay. So what happens is that you can click the things that you want to group, like these rectangles. You want to group them. So with Control key selected on your keyboard, you can select some of the layers you want to group together. You want to group these tests 300 ml RGB, now 120 naira. I want to group them together. So we select the three of them, okay, with the naira sign rectangle. And then we drag them into this group. Once the group Once the group one is highlighted, you leave your mouse and the objects now move into that group. So when you click on this arrow key beside the group layer, when you click there, when you click there, it hides your elements inside that group. So you don't have much layers now. But if you want to see the things inside group one, you click that arrow again. While it's pointing down, you can see the elements inside it. So with this, you can be able to group. And when you select group one and you click and drag, it's moving everything inside the group. So this is one way to group elements in your design and make them organized. Okay. So we can also choose to group this shield and the logo together. So if you want to do that, you can click on group layer again. It says group two. Okay. So now we can now select the elements we want. Want to select the chill text and the logo. Okay. And the other text that says taste the filling. Okay. Once it's selected, we will drag and drop it inside the layer group. It's now inside. Click the arrow to hide it. So when we want to move them, they can be moved together. Okay. So with this now, we have few few layers here. Okay. Can now create another group. This is group three, and now put the bottle and the background in group three. Okay. So our design now is made up of three groups. Hope you can see that. So that's one of the ways to organize things in Photoshop using group. Okay. But this is not properly aligned. So open group one and Need to shift this text a little bit to align properly. Okay, so that is it. So if we want to create this reflection, this is a little bit reflection below the bottle. That is very, very simple. So to do that, click on the bottle, open the group layer of the bottle, click on the layer of the bottle. Okay, this is the bottle now. You move it upwards a bit. Okay, so that you can be able to see. Then Control C, Control V to paste it. You now have the bottle double. When you are grouping elements, you group after you have finished your design, or elements that you know that we stick together. If not, you might be finding it difficult to select things after you have grouped it. But to make, to move things after you have grouped them, you use Control, hold Control and click your mouse to move single layers. Okay. So once you have duplicated the bottle now, you right click. Before you right click, Control T to transform. When you click Control T, it highlights the bottle. And you now click right click, flip vertical. That is to turn the bottle downwards. Okay? With Control selected, you can move the bottle down so that we can only see the bottom part of it. And just make the bottom to touch a little with the other one. And then once we have done that, we can just click. Next thing to do is to click layer max. This is layer max panel. So you click there, you click there. When you click, when you click there, there was a white background that came by the side of the layer to show that there is a mask created. Okay. So the next thing to do now is to use the brush tool. This is the brush tool. This is the brush tool. Okay. So you click and hold the brush tool. So there are other tools in the brush tool. You have pencil tool, color replacement, mixer brush. What we need is the brush tool. Okay. Once you've selected it, pay attention to this area. This is where the properties of any tool you select will show. Any tool that you click, these are the two bars. Any tool that you click, the properties will show above here. Okay. So So we click on the brush tool, and then we click here. This is the size of the brush. Okay, and this is the blending mode. Leave it in normal. There are instances where you change it, but not now. You need leave it in normal, and then you click here to click on the size of the brush to increase it a little bit. Okay, as you're increasing it, you move your mouse a little bit to the right and shift your mouse to your design. You can see the size of the brush that you have. You can increase it more again. Move your mouse outside, you can see the size. So I think 900 pixel is okay. So put 900 and click enter. Okay. And then the next thing to check is the color selected here. Make sure it is black. Okay. So once you have done that, pay attention to the layer mask you have created. Okay. This is the second bottle, the layer. This is the mask. Okay. So once you have done that, this is the layer, this is the mask. This is the layer, this is the mask. So make sure that the mask is selected. Select the brush with the color black. You just move, and by the edge of this photo, you click 2 or 3 times to make transparency. Okay, so the image is now a little bit transparent. Just click by the edges of the photo. Okay, you can now use the move tool to move it down a little bit. So this is how we create transparency. You have to notice that while we are using the brush on the mask, there is a black dot showing in the mask. What that means is that you used black color of a brush to remove some particles of the second bottle, creating a transparent effect. Okay, so that is how to create transparency in Photoshop. Think with that, our design has just been completed. Okay? So put just put the last test, which is recommended price. So this is the final output of our design. It's that simple to work on Photoshop when you know how to use your tools. Okay, so I will be dropping your assignment, which will be submitted. It should be submitted before our next class. I will send a design that you are supposed to reproduce for me and send back to me on WhatsApp for corrections. Okay. So this video is recorded. It will be sent on YouTube so you can watch it from the beginning and learn how to use some of the tools I've shown you to create a design. All right. And I also recommend you go to YouTube. When you go to YouTube, okay, let me share my screen on that. Um, okay, I want to share my screen. Okay, so if you go to YouTube, this is YouTube, youtube.com. Yeah, it's YouTube. Um, you can search introduction to Photoshop. Introduction to Photoshop for beginners. Okay, so when you click on that, you see videos that will show you the tools, the tools of Photoshop. Okay, because what you need is the fundamental of Photoshop to be able to create anything. Okay, or maybe you can say, okay, introduction to Photoshop tools. Okay, use that keyword, information to Photoshop tools. Okay, every tool is playing. This is a very nice video. All right. So for you to get familiar with most of these tools, okay. So there are a lot of resources online that you can be able to use to learn the basic tools of Photoshop, so that while we are working on other projects, it will be easy for you to go along. Okay. We have come to the end of the class. Is there any question? Do we have question? Do you have any questions so that we can end the class? Hello? Do you have a question regarding what we just did today? Okay, if there is no question, we'll call it a day. Do you have a question, Rhoda?
No.
Okay. So I recommend you go to YouTube and watch the full video of this class, and also watch the videos I showed you on YouTube, and be able to do your assignment. I'll drop the assignment on WhatsApp. Thank you for joining us today. We have come to the end of the class today. Thank you.